Awesome. Welcome back to Colossus Flex Elite Talk, the podcast where we learn from the best of the best in Hyrox, top athletes, smart strategies, and real talk about how to train harder, race faster, and keep improving. This is where we break down what it takes to perform on an elite level so that you can bring that mindset into your own training. Today's guest is Cole Learn, Chicago winner and new in the Elite 15 with an incredible pro solo time last week in Chicago, 54:36. Welcome, Cole. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Cool. Tell us, who are you? I seen also that you're a gym owner, so maybe you share a little bit about
Mhm.
yourself.
Yeah, my name's Cole Learn. I'm from Ontario, Canada. 33 years old. I am a gym owner. I've owned a gym now for just over 7 years. We have a couple different things that our gym focuses on. We have more of like the CrossFit Hyrox style classes. We have like a boot camp studio where we run kind of boot camp style classes. And then we also have a 24-hour gym, which is just your regular gym where people can kind of come in and use the weights and whatnot on their own time. I've been training in Hyrox now for just under 2 years. I did my first race actually 2 years ago in Chicago. So that was the same venue that I did my first race at 2 years ago. After that, I kind of spent about half of the year still kind of competing in CrossFit where I came from. And then I went all in on Hyrox just before the Nice, France World Championships. So I've been training straight Hyrox now for about a year and a half. And yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So your background is CrossFit, as you're saying, and you jumped into Hyrox, basically.
Yeah, I played football, like American football, growing up. I went to university and I played that in university. And then over the last 7, 8 years, I've been focused on competitive CrossFit. I did a lot of that. My running was always really strong for the amount I had worked on it. So when I saw the sport of high rocks, I knew that it was something that I had to try, and I knew that it was something I had a lot of potential in. So I was really excited about it.
I wanted to enter later a bit to the training part, so I keep those things in the back of my head. But first, I wanted to start with you. How was your race in Chicago last week? Thoughts
Mhm.
about it, and maybe some analyze about the race from your side.
Yeah, Chicago. I knew like the days leading into the race, I was feeling really good. I had a really calm mindset. I know if I can get myself to a place where I'm just feeling really calm, relaxed, grateful, I can have a really good race. And I remember just my workouts leading into there, the shakeout run, the warm up, all that, I was just feeling really good. Like my body was just responding well. My heart rate was responding really well. So I knew that it was going to be a good race. I didn't know for sure, but I had a good feeling. And then starting the race, first lap, just kind of holding back a little bit. Um, my heart rate was low, like probably like 5 to 8 beats per minute lower than it normally is at the start of a race. Maybe I was just a lot calmer than normal. I'm not too sure, but even coming off the ski erg, I think it came off in like third or fourth. I was still like 155 beats per minute, and usually I'm kind of in the 160s already, maybe low 160s. So at that point, I was like, okay, I'm feeling good. My heart rate's reinforcing that, and this is going to be my race. So when I got to the sleds, I was a little bit more aggressive than I normally am. Normally, I like to kind of hold back, especially on the push a little bit. But the push felt great. I think the sleds were moving good in Chicago. And I was able to push the sled in, I think, 210. And I didn't feel much fatigue from it, so I was in a great spot after the sled push. Sled pull is a great station for me. It's always a station that I like to kind of overtake. That's usually when you'll see me kind of turn it on a little bit, and then leading right into the burpees. Burpees is probably another one of my best stations. I think I was about 218 in Chicago. So those are the two stations that I do like to make a big push, and I know I can always finish the race strong with the lunges and the wall balls. So if I can get to like those burpees and still feel pretty good, I know I'm going to have a good race. So Chicago was a dream come true for me. Everything just kind of fell into place, and it was just a really cool experience.
Yeah, I seen the result and I was like, oh my God, this guy, I need to get him on the podcast.
Yeah,
uh,
everything's kind of happened really fast. Like going into this season, I definitely had plans of like trying to break into the Elite 15. I didn't expect it to happen this way or this fast or kind of the way it has. So it's been pretty cool.
your next race is probably Melbourne, right?
Yeah, yeah. We leave in a month or a week and a half, sorry. December 2nd, we're leaving for Melbourne. We'll get there December 4th, and then the race is the 12th.
Imagine in Melbourne you would qualify for the World Champion Elite 15. Um, you planned already a strategy that you stop racing and focus on worlds, or you are this kind of person that you want to compete and challenge yourself over and over?
Um, It's tough to say. I definitely wouldn't just like focus just on worlds. I would definitely do some more races just to keep that intensity fresh in your mind, right? There's nothing like that race day feeling. I can do a simulation in my gym 100 times and it will never feel like that race day. So I feel like it's important to get out there and experience those kind of race day nerves, that race day competition intensity. But yeah, if I were to qualify in Melbourne here, it would definitely change what my season would look like. Um, Phoenix is coming up at the end of January, but for me, we actually have a 2 week trip booked. It's like a scuba diving trip booked right after Melbourne. So I'm not going to be able to do a ton of training throughout those 2 weeks. I'll still be able to get some like small runs in, but I'm not really the training that I want. So leading into Phoenix, that might be a tough race for me as it's going to be like 3 weeks after we get home. So really won't have the training behind me that I would like to go into a major like that. So my plan right now is just Melbourne. That's all I'm focused on, and then I'll kind of reassess with whatever happens there.
When it comes to the race, do you have yourself a race strategy, or you try to go with the best of the best, or you just do your own program and you follow your thoughts and you follow what you have prepared, or you try to adapt during the race?
I mean, with any racing, it is important to adapt based on kind of what other athletes are doing around you. But I think it's super important, especially in Hyrox, to know what you're capable of and know the paces that you're capable of because it's very easy to get influenced off the first run and the ski erg and really destroy your race. And I've had it happen to me before. A lot of athletes, I think, don't understand that even like 2 to 3 seconds over your threshold on those first couple stations can really destroy your race. So for me, I like to hang back just a touch off the start. I don't like to get out too fast, and I like to kind of build into my paces because I know that I'm pretty strong through that sled pull burpees, and then I'm super strong in the lunges and the wall balls. So
Hmm. Okay. Makes sense. I've spoken also to some of the elites, and they really don't care. They even come 10th or 12th into the ski because they know that they can catch
yeah,
up later
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Do you have any tip you would say about pacing yourself in the race? What's your biggest tip?
I think for a lot of newer athletes, it's running outside and understanding what that pace feels like. Um, like treadmill running is great. I do a lot of treadmill running, but I also know what it feels like to run my race pace outside. And for I think for a lot of people at the start of the race, they got the adrenaline going, they got everything, all the nerves going, and they come out on that first lap and they really have no idea how fast they're running. They probably feel like they're running slow, but they're running probably like 15 to 20 seconds per kilometer faster than they actually practiced. And then their race is just gone right there in the first run. So I think having a good understanding of like what your threshold feels like, even just like knowing where your threshold heart rate is can be super beneficial. Like for me, that first run, I'm definitely watching my heart rate. I'm seeing what it does. I'm trying to settle and bring it down and let that heart rate settle because once those nerves kind of come out and you get into the race a little bit, that's when you'll have a good understanding of where you're at.
Makes sense. Makes sense. It happened to me also that I overpaced the first run. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very easy to do, man. It's very easy to do. And then even the skier too, right? Like I ran a 54:36 and I was skiing like a 149 500 meter pace. Like
Wow.
that's not fast. Yeah, that's not fast at all. But I mean, like to like pulling a 146 500 meters is going to save me 6 seconds, but that's a lot more effort in the long run. Like a lot for me, like the difference between a 149 and a 146 is easily like 5 to 7 beats per minute in my heart rate. So for me, like I can just chill at that 149 and feel very fresh coming off of that. And I can easily make those 6 seconds up elsewhere.
That's actually very interesting because I heard similar approaches from the others that are
Hmm.
racing on the elite level. They also say that they try to take it easier on the ski to more or less
Yeah.
recover and then to tackle the next run to be fresh and
Yeah,
to.
it's so early in the race, and I feel like the nerves are still so high, and people like if you watch people like go into the skis and go out of the skis, like their transitions are so fast and aggressive, and you're really not saving much time. And I see it happen all the time, like coming off the skier and people just go into like a full out sprint to get out of the rock zone. For me, when I come off that ski, my whole thought process is settling. So yes, I'm going to get right back into my run pace, but I'm also going to focus on relaxing my shoulders, relaxing the arms, and just making sure that I'm catching my breath again. And then I'm getting back out to that run course and putting in a strong run. But I think like coming off each station, if you can just allow that body just to settle back into things, it can really help.
Would you say when you enter the rock zone or when you go out from the rock zone that you have the same speed like you're having on the run course, or you slow down a little bit?
No, I usually try to run the same speed, for sure. Maybe like the first couple steps out of the station, I'm allowing myself to just relax a little bit, clear some lactate, but I definitely try to get right back up to speed. Now, I've only ran in the pro course, so there's usually hundreds of people in your way, so you're ducking and dodging too. So I'm pretty excited to get out there and not have anybody in my way.
Yeah, you have said in the beginning that you are having a background from CrossFit. So,
Mhm.
if we're entering a little bit in the training style, training method, to which point would you say helped you, CrossFit helped you for Hyrox? And how does your training look in general right now?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good question. I think the CrossFit background really helped my anaerobic side and the ability to handle high intensity. I trained for years in zone five, zone four, zone five. That was like 95% of my training, right? Like hardcore metcons, burpees, thrusters, like just experiencing high demand and high output. So coming into Hyrox, it was more about developing my lower end, that more of the aerobic side, those base levels. So I do a lot of base training, a lot of just easy stuff, kind of really building up that, and then a lot of obviously threshold work, a lot of threshold running. But when I was training for CrossFit, I don't know if I ever did a zone two session, an easy aerobic session, or anything like that. Mostly it was geared towards those zone four and five. So I think for me, like the ability to like be fast and good on the stations has transferred over really well from the CrossFit background. And then as I've built up that more aerobic side, I'm able to sustain these paces for a little bit longer, and it's kind of just blended together. Because if you look at my 54:36, like my running isn't like the best. Like I'm usually like from the top guys at least a minute more running. I think I was like around 32 minutes total running with the rock zone and the kilometers, whereas most of the top guys will be 31, maybe even just under 31. So I know that's an area that I need to focus on and get better at. But if you also look at my stations are probably right up there with the best, maybe even better than some of the best guys.
Yeah, I've checked your stations. For example, the sled pull extremely strong. I think in
Hmm.
Chicago it took 2 minutes and 43, something like that, which is
Yeah,
pretty
I only
fast.
went that fast there because the sled push. I felt really good coming. Usually I'm right around like that 3 minute mark, 3:10. But in yeah, in Chicago, I knew I was feeling good, so I was just like I'm going for it right here. And yeah.
You said that you also were running a lot before, but you did CrossFit a lot, so you had already a strong running. But to which point your running has transformed? What did you change on this aspect to get better at running? What did
Mhm.
you do less? What did you do more?
Yeah, so when I was training CrossFit, the only running that I would do would be like in like Metcon. So I'd be like doing like a 400 or an 800-meter run with like thrusters and burpees and that kind of stuff. I never really worked on my running just as running.
Mhm.
So coming into Hyrox, I obviously had to change some of that. I started doing like for my first race when I ran a 102.24, all I added was 3 zone 2 runs a week. I wasn't
Mhm.
doing any threshold running. I wasn't doing any tempo running, like no speed work. It was just 3 zone 2 runs a week and still training my regular CrossFit. And I ran a 102.24 in my first race in Chicago. After that, I knew that I was going to have to hire a run coach and obviously dial in some things to really take it to the next level. So for myself now, and what I've been doing for the last year is 3 hard runs per week. Um, Obviously, threshold running is super important. One is more of like a speed work session, and then one is more of like not necessarily compromised running, but more of like a Hyrox simulation type of run. And then all the other runs are just easy base runs. I'm usually running around 80 kilometers a week, maybe.
Mhm. How many strength sessions per week do you have?
So because my strength is already like very high, I'm only doing 2 strength sessions per week. It's not as big focus for me just because my strength, like my base level strength is already really good from all the CrossFit training, all the years of strength work I put in. That it's not a super big focus for me. It's just more of a maintenance thing.
Um, Now that we're having you here, you're very good at the stations. Compare maybe to other elites, you are a little bit ahead on some stations. What is your biggest tip for a person that is already on top to get even better in stations, to improve those stations?
I like to I like to do a lot of contrast training, a lot of plyometric work, a lot of explosive work in my training. So, for example, like supersetting heavy squats with like very high box jumps, supersetting like single leg plyometric work with like banded speed work. Like, so say like like a trap bar deadlift that's banded and we're moving the bar for speed. So more of like a dynamic effort. I feel like that can pay off for a lot of the stations, and then just training the stations like independently, but then also doing them a lot under fatigue as well. And I know that's talked about a lot, but things feel different when you're tired. We all know this. Like once that heart rate gets up, things feel way harder. So I think just like having a good understanding of like what that movement's going to feel like under fatigue can go a long way. Yeah, and kind of making sure that you're practicing that, especially as you get closer to a race.
And what would you suggest a person that is, let's say, a 70-minute Hyrox Pro athlete?
Mhm.
How to split the training for this person? What would you suggest, like strength wise and running wise?
Yeah, I think obviously it depends on where they're at and what they need to work on. But I think for most people, just the ability to control their heart rate is going to pay off, right? Like you'll see a lot of times, like somebody say, "Oh my gosh, like the sled was so hard or the lunges were so hard." And it's not necessarily that that movement is what they need to train more of, but if they were able to enter that station with their heart rate 10 beats per minute lower, they
Mm.
could do a lot better. But as soon as you're in that zone 5, like everything's going to feel hard. It doesn't really matter what it is, right? So I think just continuing to develop your aerobic base, making sure that you have the ability to control your heart rate. And then also, like, I think some people aren't training their running in those higher heart rate zones. So it's one thing to run a lot of threshold work and be in that zone 3 or 4 or whatever you're aiming for. But then, like, if you look at a high rocks race, your heart rate's probably going to be 10 beats per minute than what you're usually training. So for me, I do a lot of like my Saturdays consists of like all compromise like sim work. So I'll basically I'm jacking my heart rate up and then I'm running at my threshold pace. and my heart rate's higher than it would be if I was just running at my threshold pace without that work in there. But then I'm getting that stimulus of like being able to maintain that pace when it feels like it is just so much harder, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes totally sense. Just wondering something. Did you ever have problems of injuries or getting sick because you were training a lot in higher heart rate zones, or this was never a problem for you?
So actually, I only train 3 days a week in higher heart rate zones. 3 days a week. I have 3 hard days, 3 easy days, and one full rest day.
Hmm.
My training load is only like 13 to 15 hours per week. So it's actually not too much compared to what some other guys are doing. I feel like some other guys just are trying to do as many hours as they can. But for me, I found like 13 to 15 hours is perfect. I can get the intensity stimulus that I need. The race is only 55 minutes or whatever it is. It's not a 2 hour marathon. It's not an Ironman. It's only 55 minutes. So I feel like for me, and I know how I recover, that 13 to 15 hours is just, it's just perfect. It allows me to recover on my easy days and then hit those hard days really, really hard so that I can give them full intensity.
Are you working a lot also on the ergs?
Yeah, so that's something that I did add in over the last like 6 months. A lot more erg threshold work. Yeah, because I feel like it's very easy to recover from those efforts, and you can add in quite a bit of it and see almost instant benefits. So that is actually one thing that I recently added into my training, just so like adding in an extra session on my hard days of erg threshold work, and I feel like it's been quite beneficial.
How many kilometers would you say per week you have on the ergs?
Um, so running's probably like 70 to 80. The ergs are, I would say maybe 50.
50.
Yeah, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more. Just depends what I'm doing. Like yesterday, I ran about 14K, and then I did about 10K on the ski erg of intervals. And then my third session, there was some bike erg in there. I probably did like another 10K on the bike erg. Just it was like some like kind of interval style stuff. So
What's your opinion on, as you said, you added up some easy sessions like zone two running, but what's your
mhm.
opinion to do zone two on the ergs, do it on the bike or do it running? Does it make a specific difference or can you mix up? What would you suggest? What do you think?
I think for me, anyways, I used to do a lot of zone two erg stuff. But I've kind of changed that out now that I'm doing a lot of the harder efforts on there. And for me now, a lot of my easy work is done on running, Stairmaster, or elliptical, or the bike, sorry, the bike erg as well. Those are
Mhm.
like the four ones I use. But I usually don't do too much easy rowing. I don't do too much easy ski erg anymore. I used to do a lot of easy ski erg. I don't do too much of that anymore. Yeah, and that's just because I am putting those efforts in elsewhere now, so I'm still using the machines just as much, but it's just in different fashions.
Mhm. Makes sense. I have seen you also on Instagram that you are running some incredible sessions and your heart rate is incredible low, like at 325,
Hmm.
and you are barely going into threshold. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, and like obviously it's a little bit different for on the treadmill than like outside. Like I do have my treadmill set to either like a 1% or a 1.5% incline. But I'm always using the same treadmill, so that's how I know if I'm improving or not. Obviously, the treadmill is like you're like it's so controlled that it's a really easy place to see if you're getting fitter or not. Like sometimes outside, it's windy, you're going up hills and stuff, so it's hard to measure your heart rate against other runs just based on like the factors that you're experiencing at the current time. So I love the treadmill for that, so I can really see what my heart rate's doing. I make sure I document it, I mark it down, and I kind of look at the trends over some time. But yeah, I like recently I've been running some paces that I never could have even thought of, and I'm not even hitting zone four. So it's been, yeah, pretty exciting.
what about your 5K or 10K times? Do you have some times around that? What is your best?
Yeah, I ran a 5K about 8 months ago, like 16:10, but it was a very windy day, and the course had like multiple like turnarounds and stuff. So I feel like if I were to run an all out 5K right now, I'd probably be around that like 15:45, 15:50 mark.
Mm,
And
fast.
then 10K, I'm not too sure about 10K. I feel like probably like a 320 kilometer, maybe around there. So I don't know, 33 something.
Half marathon?
Half marathon, I actually was supposed to run one, but I had a little bit of a hamstring strain, so I pulled out of it. It wasn't like a bad injury or anything, but I just didn't want to. It wasn't like a race for me, so I just didn't run it. But I was hoping to aim for around like 116.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
strength numbers, squats, deadlift, bench, and military press?
Squats, I haven't maxed out in a while, but I'm sure I could back squat like 350 for a couple reps at least right now. Like my all-time best back squat when I was CrossFitting was like 430. Um,
Pounds,
so
yeah.
I've obviously, yeah, pounds. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
No, not kilograms. Yeah. So, yeah, obviously I've lost some top end strength, but that's not really a priority for me. Deadlift would be similar. Probably, I could probably still deadlift right now, 400 pounds for at least a couple reps. Um, Military press, probably around 160 to 185 for 2 or 3 reps. Bench press, similar, like, I don't know, 275 for a couple reps.
That's something.
Yeah,
Some.
and that's just because I did years of strength training. Like for 7 or 8 years, my main focus was like improving those numbers, right? So I have a lot of background of strength training under my belt. So my training right now might look different than somebody who still needs to improve their strength.
Actually, what's very interesting, I have talked already to six, seven of the elites, and you're all guys, you're around the same numbers when it comes to the running.
Hmm.
Strength, some of you are a bit stronger, some of you a little bit weaker, but it's similar to everyone. So it's at the end, probably, I don't know, you tell me what you think is the main factor to win or
Hmm.
to be better than the other person. Is it to have the other one has a bad day, or it's also how you transfer that into the race? What do you think is
Yeah.
the key?
I think it like the main key is how it transfers into the race. I know a lot of guys that are faster runners than me, but they can't run as fast as me in a high rocks.
Hmm.
Maybe that's because the stations affect them a lot more than it affects me. Maybe they just haven't worked on a lot of running under that type of fatigue. I'm not too sure. It's something that I've been interested in because I try to look at that a lot because I know I see it happen a lot where guys are extremely good runners, but as soon as they get put into a high rocks, they just can't sustain those efforts anymore. So but then obviously, like at the top level, it comes down to multiple things like hydration, nutrition. Like, did you dial it in properly before the race? Like, was your hydration good? And then mindset as well, right? Like, it gets pretty dark out there when things get tough. Like, are you able to believe in yourself, and are you able to dig deep, or does your mind go to a negative place, and can you just not get out of it? All those kind of factors can go into having a really good race.
You speak about mindset. What's in your
Mhm.
mind? I've seen also some posts that you went through some tough times or some harder times. Did this help
Mhm.
you for racing, especially, and getting you better?
Yeah, like I have been working with a mindset coach too, just to dial in kind of like that, those race day nerves and whatnot. But yeah, I did go through a pretty bad addiction. I went through a heroin addiction when I was in my young 20s. I ended up living on the streets for a couple of years, and that did a couple of things, obviously, but it just made me extremely grateful for life. I got a second chance at life where I know a lot of people that are in that scenario don't get a second chance. And I experienced some really dark times there where I had to dig deep, right? Like it's just very similar to like those race day feelings when you get in there and you're backed up against a corner and your only way out is to dig deep, right? So I think going through that and experiencing those types of things has helped me kind of really tap into an extra gear when I'm in that race day fight or flight, and try to get everything that I can out of myself.
Very, very impressive. Also, like, congrats on this that this worked out for you.
Thank you.
Uh, I think also that's definitely something that the mindset for a lot of people is the game changer. Probably at the end, is
hmm
deciding who's winning, who is losing. Um, when it comes to the race, do you taper at all, or you don't taper?
I've played around with different options. Actually, for Chicago, I didn't taper at all.
Mm.
And I felt the best I've ever felt. And I don't know, like if you look at the race, like again, it's not that long and it's not even that much volume. Like it's 8 kilometers of running or maybe just over. And the stations aren't even that much either. So like even just cutting out like 10 to 15% of my regular volume can help me recover just like enough to put forth a good effort. So I feel like my strategy moving forward now is going to be a minimal taper. I feel like if I taper too much, I just feel like I'm flat. And I know it could be beneficial if I were running a marathon or something where like, yes, we want to cut that volume down and make sure we're feeling fresh. But I don't know. For me, I feel like just getting some good hard efforts, like 2 days out from the race, like 2 days out from Chicago, I did 8 by 1K at like 320 a kilometer with like a 45-second rest. And then I did some
That's
thresholds on, yeah. And then I did some thresholds on the ski erg a couple hours after that. And then I did like kind of a dynamic strength session. So more focused on like just like moving weight for speed, not necessarily like doing a ton of strength work, but it was more just like keeping the body primed, doing some plyometrics and that kind of stuff. And I felt great. Like it was just, yeah. So, and then I give myself 2 easy days after that and then race day.
That's a very interesting thing with the taper because I've talked to Sean Noble and he spoke about a reverse taper, like 10 days before he starts to maybe reduce a little bit of volume. And when he was running his 54, he did VO2 max session before the race one day. And for
Yeah.
him, he said he tapered before, and when he entered in the race, he felt tired on the first run. His body needed
Yep.
time to enter. But when he did the VO2 max session the next day, he felt like in a training session on the first run, he was directly into the race. He was there.
Mhm.
He was sharp. So
It's interesting because that's exactly what happened to me in Chicago. Like like I remember in Atlanta, like I did Atlanta a couple weeks before Chicago, and I tapered for that one, and I felt horrible. Like I felt bad on my first run. Like I just knew it wasn't my day right after the first run. And Chicago, yeah, I did like a couple hard sessions, like 2 days out, and like on my first run, I felt phenomenal. So I'm not saying that's definitely like the way to go, but for myself and like my experience, I do like doing some harder efforts, like 2 days out, and making sure that I'm kind of just getting that body primed.
you spoke also about that you knew that when you did your first Hyrox, it was a 1 hour two, and I have checked
hmm
that your second you did a low high 57. You got
hmm
a coach in between there, right?
Yep.
I think I've seen also that you got like Michael Sandbag. Is that right? As a
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I was working with Michael Sandback for a long time. I'm still kind of with him, but I add in a little bit of my own stuff. I love his blueprint. He's got a great blueprint and he taught me so much about high low training, like how to structure a good program. But I think like as athletes, like it's important to know exactly what you need as well. So I'll take his blueprint and I'll structure my week and then I'll add in what I kind of know I need to work on. And then I feel like it's just, yeah, it's created a good, well-rounded program for me.
Do you think it's important as an athlete to have a coach, or is it to a certain point also possible to do everything on your own, or you need somehow guidance from outside?
I feel like it's important to have some guidance from outside. Depending on what kind of athlete you are, it's hard to program for yourself, right? Like I program for a lot of athletes one-on-one, but it's like when you're looking at yourself, you're sometimes a little bit biased of how you look at yourself, and you might not necessarily program the stuff that you need to work on as much. Um, so I feel like it could work in some scenarios, but it's definitely good to have the guidance of a coach. Like, yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be very helpful.
I've seen also you did one doubles race. Is that correct?
Hmm. Hmm.
You are not so much into doubles, or it was just not the time that you had no time to do doubles, or you don't like doubles so much.
I was actually supposed to race doubles in Dallas this weekend with Isaac Sanderson. We were actually going to go try to put up an Elite 15 time, but I pulled out of that once I qualified for Melbourne. It's
Mm.
just too much travel right now. I just want to focus on Melbourne. We're leaving in a week and a half, so I didn't want to, yeah, I didn't want to pull myself away from my training for that and go through another race weekend and whatnot. But no, doubles, I actually think doubles suits me almost better than a singles race would, just because of my experience in the CrossFit stuff. I am like I'm an anaerobic athlete. Like I have a lot of fast twitch muscle. I can move sleds fast. I can burpee really fast. I can lunge. I can wall ball. I can do all the stations extremely fast. And then I also can run pretty fast too. So I think doubles would actually suit me very well, and it's something that I definitely want to get into more next year.
Interesting. I'm happy. I think we're all happy to see this for sure.
Hmm. Yeah.
When it comes to the race, do you have any specific fueling strategy during the race, before the race? Is there something that you are taking that you're not taking?
Um, Actually, before Chicago, I played around with just not carb loading so heavily.
Mhm.
So my carbs are extremely high all the time because yeah, they're always high. But I feel like for some races, I was just like almost overeating carbs, like just trying to like. And again, this comes down to it being like less than an hour race, right? So
Yeah.
like if you have a couple easy days before the race and you're fueling the way you normally do, your glycogen's going to be topped up. Like you're going to be where you need to be. Like I feel like some people almost carb load like it's a marathon, but for a race that's under 60 minutes, you're really not even going to need that, right? And you're not even going to need to fuel throughout the race either. I mean, you can if you want, and it feels like it helps you mentally. But in Chicago, I took 40 grams of carbs from a gel and some ATP Labs Pentacarb. So it was about 70 grams of carbs about 45 minutes out from the race, and that was it. And I didn't fuel. This is the first race I didn't fuel during the workout.
Okay. Normally you're taking something like gels.
Yeah, normally I would take a gel at like the halfway point, but I didn't notice any difference in Chicago. I had a great race, but I mean, like maybe sometimes like mentally it can help you if you're like taking a gel and you feel like you're getting that energy. But I feel like if you fuel well leading into the race and whatnot, I don't feel like it's that necessary unless your time is going to go up around like that 90-minute window or maybe just under.
I've talked the other day with a friend of mine, and he said this guy Cole, he looks like a Superman. Uh, how tall are you, and how heavy are you?
Yeah, I am 6'2" and about 193 to 195 pounds.
What's that in centimeters and in kg? You know that?
Yeah, it's about I think 88 kg. Yeah, yeah, about 88 kilograms and 188 centimeters.
That's like you're one of the heavier athletes out there running those
Yeah,
pace.
I'd be similar to like the Hunter McIntyre, like kind of like he's around, I know around that like 195 mark or whatever. Yeah, and like I don't know. I've thought about trying to drop some weight, but I feel like my body just performs really well at this weight. I don't know if I were to drop too much more. I'm not too sure how I would do. I'm sure it would help my running, but um, yeah, I don't know. I got a big frame, so like for me to like lose more weight, I feel like I would just like lose too much muscle mass.
Mm, interesting, interesting. About the
But you never
fueling
know.
and you saying that you will lose too much muscle mass. When it comes to your race week, do you eat specifically differently, or you try to keep the same diet that you usually have, or you?
Very similar to what I normally eat. Lots of white rice, honey, and then some type of like low fat meat. Like I like ground turkey. Just it digests really well. I usually cut out all my vegetables like 2 days before the race. Just I
So
find
zero
vegetables.
you don't eat?
What's that?
You eat zero vegetables before the race, 2 days before?
Yeah, I'll have like my greens powder and I'll have fruits and stuff, but not too much vegetables. Usually I kind of cut those out. Just they kind of cause me a little bit of bloating sometimes, like just from the more of the fiber and whatnot. So I try to not have any gut discomfort, like kind of reading into the race.
What is your biggest learning you would say that you had during your competition, during your life, during Hyrox and everything?
Um, I think like Hyrox has taught me a lot of just about like persevering. Like it's definitely the hardest thing I've ever done. I remember finishing my first race and turning to my wife and being like, that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I've done a lot of CrossFit workouts. I've done a ton of hard workouts and it's just grueling. And it just teaches you that like there's going to be tough times in life, right? We're all going to hit those kind of fight or flight moments when you either gonna head first right into that or you're gonna back off. And I feel like in High Rocks, anybody who's at the top has the mindset that when things get painful, when things get hard, they're able to just push into it more and they're able to lean into that and get out on the other side because it's not going to be easy. If you're going to run a fast time in High Rocks, you better be ready to hurt.
You better be ready.
Yeah.
um, do you have doubts sometimes, or you want to give up sometimes, or you don't want to do it? You say, "Ah, shit."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All the time. All the time. I would say every race I have doubts that I'm not good enough at, but it's just like how you kind of deal with them, right? When they creep in, I try to get out of that mindset right away. I try to shift my gear. I try to shift my focus, whether it's just like, and recently what me and my mindset coach has been working on, like rather than thinking about outcomes, thinking about the process and what I need to do. So shifting from like an outcome based approach more to like an execution based approach. So like at the start line, rather than thinking about, oh, what's my time going to be at the end? No, it's like thinking about what do I need to do to make sure that the outcome is where I need it to be. So that really helps me. And then also just like um, attaching this to emotions, like what type of mental state and what type of emotional state do I need to be in to run a good race? And for me, um, it's like lighthearted gratitude, like just keeping things super simple, not stressing and being like so hyper focused and like you know how there's some people on the start line they won't even like talk. They're just like so like hyper focused on like what they need to do. For me, it's more like I'll be making jokes on the start line, having like just like keeping things humorous, keeping things light, and I feel like that's when I perform my best is when I can just have fun out there.
What's a suggestion for a person that is like super stressed or having these problems? How to calm themselves down? What would you say is a good strategy, a good way to do that?
Hmm. I think um, kind of like what I just touched on there is like being able to understand what type of feelings you want to approach the race with so that you aren't super nervous and dialed in and then also getting out of that outcome based approach for me when I used to approach a race it was all about the outcome. All I cared about was my finishing time,
Hmm.
and it led to me to be super stressed going into that race because there's all this like what ifs, what if this happens, what if this happens, what if this happens, and like it was just a bad mindset to go into a race. So now when I go into a race, the outcome's going to be what it's going to be. All I can think about is just my execution. How am I going to execute this race so that it turns out the way I want it to turn out? And that's really helped my mindset and myself just kind of calm down. It's not as stressful because the outcome is going to be what the outcome is going to be. I just need to execute my race how I know I can.
And what's the strategy behind? Because, okay, you might have said to yourself, oh, okay, I'm just focusing on what I'm doing. I don't care about the outcome, but the process to reach that part is a long way to go there. So, on the way, what has helped you? Like, telling yourself that over and over again, or it was enough for you to tell yourself one time and then you had that in your mind?
Yeah. Yeah, and exactly right. It's like it's easy to it's much easier to say it than for it to actually happen. I think a couple things for me has helped. One, just racing more. I've raced probably like I don't know 5 times in the last like 2 months. So it's just being out there and getting more experience out there and dealing with the emotions that go along with it. That's number one. That's what's helped me for sure. And then number two, I think it's just like having a small like I have a little thing on my phone in my notes that I just read over, and it's just some simple like calming words, like just to reminds me of the feelings, reminds me to be grateful for where I'm at, and it just kind of brings me back to center. And every time I start to think about the race or start to get a little bit nervous, I read it, and it brings me back down.
Very simple, but I think very
Yeah.
powerful. But at the same time, as you said, difficult. Also, it takes time for sure.
It takes time. And like I feel like it doesn't need to be complicated, right? Like everybody likes to complicate things nowadays. Like you find something simple that works. Like because like the simple things are the things that we're gonna do consistently. If it's like a super dialed in like big routine that you need to do, like you're probably less apt to do that rather than just like having something simple on your phone that you can look at and read and just remind yourself that you know what, like this is life. Like, let's just go out and have some fun. Like, I'm grateful that I'm even able to be here right now. There's so many people in life that aren't able to get out there and challenge themselves physically. So, yeah, just reminding of all those small things in life can really be super helpful.
You're talking a lot about, okay, you need to be with yourself and so on. Do you also wear some trackers like a Whoop or a Garmin overnight to track your HRV? Like in case you're waking up in the morning, you feel like crap, but then you're checking your device, it says it's fine, or the other way around. What is your thought on this?
Yeah, I have a Garmin. I've actually been wearing a Maze Fit recently. They sent me a watch over to try, but same type of thing. Like yeah, I'll track my resting heart rate and my HRV. It's not so forth like I'm not like looking at it like day to day and being like, oh my God, my HRV is low today. I can't train. It's more just like kind of watching the trends. But yeah, if my HRV is low and my resting heart rate's high, that's probably a good indication that my fatigue is high. But again, with how I train and how I've structured my easy and my hard days, I like I'm always recovered by the time that hard day comes back around. So yeah, like today I woke up, my HRV was a little low and my resting heart rate was a little high. That's expected. I did a hard day yesterday. I did like 4 sessions.
Mm.
Today is just an easy day. So I already know I'm doing something really easy. I'm going to help the recovery. And then I'll have another hard day tomorrow. And 9 times out of 10, my HRV will be back to normal tomorrow. My resting heart rate will be back down and I'll be ready for another hard day.
Have you ever been in overtraining?
No,
What
no,
would
I do honestly like the least amount of stimulus that I can do to get the effects that I need.
hmm.
I'm not somebody that will just keep training because I think more is better. I've been around for long enough and I know my body long enough to know that I don't do better off of higher volume. If anything, my body just starts to break down and my fatigue levels creep too high, and I'm not able to get the intensity from each session that I need.
So basically, you're doing hard, easy. We can say so more or
Yeah, some
less.
days there's even 2 easy days between a hard day. So like Monday will be a hard day, and then I'll do Tuesday, Wednesday easy, and then Thursday hard, Friday easy, Saturday hard, and then Sunday completely off. And that's another thing too, is like Sunday, some people will have no days off. They'll just have like Sunday as like a long, easy day. But like for me, like easy volume is still volume. Like it's not like you're doing nothing, right? So I think the best way to recover is literally just doing nothing some days.
Mm.
For me, anyways, like Sunday is just a day where I can reset and just refocus. I don't have to go down and sit on a bike for an hour and a half or 2 hours. It's just I do nothing.
Do you believe in sauna and ice bath? You are
I
doing that?
sauna every night. Every night I sauna. I have an ice bath too. I don't really use it much. I usually just every night I do a 20-minute sauna, and then I just do like a 2 second dip in my cold tub, basically just to kind of cool myself off really quick. And then it just helps me sleep tremendously. Like once I started adding that to my daily routine, my sleep's got way better.
Mm. You sleep around 6, 7, 8 hours per night?
Yeah, 8 hours at least. Try to eight to eight, anywhere between 8 to 9 hours.
When it comes to running sessions and training, you are wearing carbon shoes sometimes or only at race day?
No, all my hard runs I wear carbons, and then all my easy runs I just wear just regular foam based shoes. But no, I like carbon plated shoes. I don't see any negatives for me anyways. Wearing haven't had any injuries from them or anything. I'm able to get more intensity out of the session. I'm able to recover better. Yeah, so I use them for all my hard sessions.
If I have to ask you about one big secret getting better at Hyrox, what would that be if you share that with us? Yeah.
Um,
Not
that's a tough
super high
question.
secret, okay, but
I honestly think like for most people is, and this is what changed my training, is just like recovery, like just understanding that your body needs time to recover from your hard work. Like if you're working hard too much, you're never going to be able to soak in and actually like see the adaptations take place just because you're living in a constant state of fatigue. So the second I changed to like a high load training, I it started improving like tenfold. As
Mhm.
soon as I started taking my easy days easy enough that I could actually recover and making sure that I was recovering on those. Because then also, like, it gets you excited for your hard days. Like, I remember when I was training hard almost like 5 times a week when I was doing more CrossFit stuff, like, you would wake up and you'd be like, oh man, I don't feel like going to the gym today, or I don't feel like killing myself today. On my hard days, 9 times out of 10, I'm waking up like excited to like hurt just because I've had a couple easy days. My mind is refreshed, my body's feeling refreshed, and I'm ready to give it again. So I feel like just yeah, understanding yourself, understanding recovery, knowing kind of how much volume you can handle and recover from is going to be a huge missing link for some people.
That actually sounds super easy, but at the end is very difficult for a lot of people.
Yes, very difficult because it's so easy to get into the mindset that more is better, and you see it all the time with yeah with
Yeah,
people posting nonstop like my training week is 30 hours. Well, that's great if that works for you, but I've probably run a faster time on 13 hours of training.
yeah. I had Hugo the other day on the podcast who does sometimes 40 hours.
Yeah, that guy's an animal. I don't know how he does it. I mean, it seems to work well for him. Like the guy's definitely fit, but I could never withstand that.
Yeah, actually very tough. He did a ski marathon in 1:49 on the 500.
Insane. Yeah, that's insane. The guy's
But
a beast on the ergs.
yes, cool. We say we keep it around an hour. Is there anything you would like to share with the people? You're also offering coaching online. People can also reach out to you, or you're currently full in case there is something,
Mhm.
or they can reach out to you on Instagram, anything like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I do offer coaching. Like I have a one-on-one coaching business where it's more of like those athletes looking to take themselves to the elite level. And then I have also like a kind of a group coaching program where it's the exact same principles that I follow. Maybe it's just the workload's just cut down a little bit, but it's still like following those high low days, and it's going to get you where you need to be. But I'm just super grateful for everybody's support. I've had so many people reach out over the last like week or two, month, and it's been truly a dream come true. So I just really appreciate everybody's support, and I'm so excited to get out there and see what I can do in Melbourne.
Yeah, definitely. Congrats on this hard
Thank you,
worker,
man.
smart worker. Closing the podcast, but I want to close it with a couple questions, but super easy, super short to answer.
Sure.
So let's get ready. We have pasta or rice.
Rice.
Favorite Hyrox station?
Sled pull.
Least favorite Hyrox station?
Sled push.
Running or lifting?
Running.
Doubles or solo?
Solo.
Who is your role model in sport?
That's a tough one. Pass.
If you can pick any person in this world to race a doubles with, whom would that be?
The Rock.
The Rock. He's going
Dwayne
to.
Johnson.
He does.
Yeah, I would just love to compete with that guy. He's awesome.
What's the best venue for you to race?
Chicago.
And what is your goal?
Qualify for the Elite 15 Worlds in Sweden.
That's it. We are done. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.